I used to drive a lovely Hyundai IONIQ Electric car in the UK, and now I've moved to Denmark and I'm still considering my transport options here. Commuting to work by bicycle is one of those options, and it has obvious benefits. It has health benefits for me, it has environmental benefits, but has driving my IONIQ Electric car skewed up my perceptions of what I want and messed around with my decision-making process? Why can't I seem to face the thought of cycling here? And if I do, why does my search then immediately take me off to things that almost resemble an electric car, like, electrically assisted bikes or trikes or quad bikes with coverings and so on that are kind of heavy and expensive and get less and less like a bicycle? Why am I overthinking this, and why am I struggling to be like a Dane, just get on a bicycle? Why am I finding that so difficult? Let's talk about all that in this video. So why am I making this video? Well, I want to be honest and I want to record my sort of thinking process and my decision process, because my suspicion is I'm not alone here. I'm not the only one who's having this kind of problem adjusting from one way of getting around, one mode of transport to another. And I think it's healthy to challenge my preconceptions and assumptions and to see if there's a better way of doing things. And also I'm making the video because I want to register and remember my thinking at this moment where, unlike most of my time in life, I actually have the chance and the choice to do something different, to select different transport options, to consider something different. And if I don't do that, why don't I do that? Now, I do realize that making this video might show me in a bad light, as obsessed with certain things, as materialistic or used to comforts. But let's be honest, I'm in my mid-40s, and even with just a year and a half of driving the IONIQ Electric in the UK and 3.5 years before that of driving a Nissan Leaf on a lease, I did get used to this very sort of quiet, comfortable, convenient, private, and kind of low or zero emissions way of getting around. I got used to that. We're not talking about me being skewed by just a driving experience or even just an electric car driving experience. We're talking about a year and a half in probably the most efficient production electric car on the planet. So here are my top 7 worries, and you can comment on each of them in the comments below.
Worry number 1, not forgotten, but not missed.
They do say you never forget how to ride a bike, but does absence make the heart grow fonder here? So the last time I rode a bike was probably like 1994, 1995, 1996, over 20 years ago anyway, and this was on a holiday for a few weeks. And the last time I regularly rode a bike is back in the mid to late 1980s, when the BMX craze was kicking off in the UK and probably the USA as well. Since then, in the intervening years, and I've been getting around mainly by buses and public transport, but have I soured on the idea of wobbling around on a two-wheeled thing where I can fall and there's other dangers and just not as pleasant as other forms of transport? And at the same time, I am mid-40s and I could do with getting rid of this middle-aged spread, and I have 2 children, and I'd like to, live long and prosper to see them grow and flourish, and that's far more likely if I'm doing some kind of regular exercise like cycling than sat in a sedentary way in a car. Even if that's an electric car and has kind of lower environmental impact than a normal car, it's still better to be doing something physically active. It's not that I'm lazy or afraid of exercise either, because I've actually been walking like crazy since I've been here in Aarhus, Denmark. I've totaled it up and it's about 282 kilometers or thereabouts, or that's about 175 miles in the 34 days that I've been here. So that works out at about 8 kilometers a day on average, or over 5 miles a day. And I've been using the public transport as well. I've been getting around and getting lost on the buses, trying to use a new bus system that's very extensive and goes lots of places. Anyway, so it's not exercise, it's something very specific to do with bicycles.
Worry number 2, finding the time to explore something new.
I'm not anti-cycling in any way, at least I don't think that I am, but I must admit that I've had very limited time to search about anything to do with bikes. And for me, it's a new technology, it's a new product, it's a new market, and I'm in a new country with a new culture and new language. And the shops here, they have kind of restricted opening hours, particularly at weekends, and then they're not open on Sundays. And I'm not criticizing that, that's just different. And it's just difficult. There are websites I can look at and other things, but it's a challenge. And bear in mind, I've been trying to sell my UK house, finding new accommodation here, opening bank accounts, going through all the registration processes. That doesn't leave a lot of time.
Worry number 3, fear of getting ripped off.
How do I find out what's a good price, a good product, a good shop, good warranties, what kind of things are going to break on a bike? It requires some product research, some market research, and so on. If I was testing cars, electric cars specifically, I'm not interested in many other types of cars, I would be looking for test drives. Is there such a thing as bicycle test drives? I've seen on one website here in downtown Aarhus that they do offer some kind of test rides. I've never been on an electrically assisted bike or one of these kind of three-wheeled buggies where you can put luggage or kids in and so on, and I'd just like to experience it and try and find out if that will help me work out what I'm looking for, what would work best for me and so on.
Worry number 4. Is a bike just too expensive for what it is?
So on to my fourth point, and I can expect some kind of negative comments on this along the lines of,
Duncan, just buy any old cheap second-hand bike and just ride it and just shut up, you...
YouTube's a great place, isn't it? Maybe this is the kind of IONIQ Electric experience and the kind of just the feel and the comfort and the design of that has kind of got itself into me a bit. I want a bike that I can use for commuting, for transporting things around and so on. I just don't want any old sort of rubbishy, rusted second-hand bike. I'm thinking of commuting every day on it. I'm thinking of going shopping on it. I'm thinking of, using it to explore the regions beyond just Aarhus. My way of justifying why I'm looking for a three-wheeled bike and an electrically assisted one at that is that, I don't want to arrive at work sweaty and dirty, and I'd rather not wobble and fall off. And because of my specific requirements here, we're talking about pushing the price into thousands of euros, thousands of dollars, thousands of pounds. And now I wouldn't think twice, and I have not thought twice, or maybe a bit, about dropping thousands or tens of thousands of pounds, although I've never dropped tens of thousands of pounds on a petrol or diesel car, on an electric car. I've done that. I've spent a lot of money on a lease of a Nissan Leaf, and then I bought, and then recently had to sell, an IONIQ Electric. So I've done that. I've spent that much money. So what's my problem about doing that with a bicycle, especially when I want to commute with it? I saw the fully charged video about one of the bikes that I'm going to show in this video, and he was saying, these bikes are about last mile transport, the link between, the other bigger vehicles and the last connections to houses, workplaces, shops and deliveries and so on. I'm not thinking about a bike in just that kind of limited sense. It needs to have a lot more usability to it, but that comes with kind of associated hikes in price.
Worry number 5. Does it do everything I could ever need?
As I said in my last video, it's very likely I'm going to have to commute with my children. At least one of them, possibly both, and at least for a few months, possibly even longer term. Now that starts to specify quite tightly what kind of bike I would need to make that possible. So this puts me into the kind of buggy or transporter type bike, and probably with electric assistance for comfort and to get around the few hills that there are here, especially with 2 children in. So now we're getting up from a few thousand into kind of 6,000-7,000 euros or dollars or pounds for some quite heavy duty, quite serious investment kind of bikes. And this brings me on to
worry number 6. What does my electric car or electric bike say about me?
Am I so sort of shallow or insecure that I'm actually worried about what having a certain kind of bike or certain kind of vehicle says about me? Do I see a car, or very specifically an electric car, as a status symbol? Is it just about me not wanting a kind of status downgrade? Or is it telling me that I'm a kind of tech nut, that I love new tech and I think that tech is the solution to kind of social issues and social problems? And is that any better than being obsessed with my status? Or has driving in my IONIQ Electric and getting used to the whole electric car world led me to develop expensive tastes, basically, like high costs, both for me and for the planet? And is that the reason why I'm drawn to all these kind of fancy covered electrically assisted quad bikes or trikes that are coming, like the Podbike coming out of Norway, or the biohybrid coming out of Germany that Robert Llewellyn has covered on his Fully Charged show? Or are these actually things that I should be genuinely interested in, because they are this kind of new form of transport, this new kind of biohybrid, and I guess you could consider these properly self-charging hybrids because they're pedal assisted. Is that a new form of kind of halfway between cars and bikes? And I'm drawn to that because I've had the experience of electric cars, and I know that transport has to change to something more sustainable, and I want it to be more flexible and usable than a bike, because that is actually, a kind of mode of transport that humanity needs. And there are people developing that, and I'm excited by that, and that's why I'm following it. I'm showing a graphic here from the biohybrid people in Germany, and they certainly buy into this, and they're showing you this kind of spectrum of where different forms of transport fit in, and this is a really good one because it's got, the kind of efficiency and the carbon footprint in here, as you can see as I kind of scan along it. And you can see that, that having some kind of like pedal-assisted biohybrid, as they call it, some kind of electric-covered quad bike, it looks pretty good on paper like this. It's, it's a midway. Maybe it can't do everything that a car can do, but it certainly can do a heck of a lot more than a bicycle can do. Or are these developers just as obsessed as me with, having these kind of higher status symbol, more tech fix kind of things to sort out humanity's problems? Are they just as sort of tramlined and constrained as I am in my thinking, perhaps?
Worry number 7. Coming soon or coming never?
Most of these car-like kind of electrically assisted bicycle options, they don't exist yet. It's all coming soon or coming late 2020 or coming to a market near you, possibly.
Regulations in your country may vary and mean you're not able to actually use this covered e-bike like bicycle, and you may end up needing a helmet, insurance, and not actually being able to ride your expensive toy anywhere, and further terms and conditions may also apply.
But is this a real sort of pace of technology development issue here? There's a need for more sustainable technologies, but it takes time to develop them, and people are genuinely, sincerely trying to work on that, but it's just not ready yet? Or is this just a way subconsciously of me deferring my decisions? I can't decide about it yet, I won't do anything about it yet, because the best options, they're not available yet. There's always something better over the horizon, the grass is always greener, so I don't need to think about it now, I'll wait till later. And there's a lot of that going on with electric cars at the moment, actually. You've got plenty of time to make up your mind, or make up your mind now, because there's long lead times on Hyundai Kona, Kia e-Niro, Jaguar I-Pace. Firstly, there is a genuine lack of available options right now. Everything does seem to be coming soon or coming, in the next year or two that people might want. But again, it is also a way of the manufacturers and people themselves just putting off the decision. I can't make do with a small range car now or some other kind of option. I'll put it off. I'll put it off till better, cheaper ones are available. And of course, if everybody does that, nothing moves forward. Am I the same? Am I just deferring my responsibilities to the future and to other people to sort of move that along? Or should I be doing something about it right now? Well, that's enough about my worries. So let me know in the comments, do you think any of my worries are valid? Am I overthinking this? Or are these genuine concerns? Are these concerns you have as well? Or is this all some kind of sophisticated, nerd maths, and I'm trying to work myself back into the point where I'm making up a formula to justify buying some other expensive, for me, for the planet, electric car? Is that what it's about? Or should I just go ahead and get a basic bike, or recognize that one of these more sophisticated electrically assisted bikes is an investment, and that amount of money, even though it's sort of like a third of a price of a typical electric car or the same price as a used car in the UK, it's an investment and I should just stick with it and go with it? So sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think about what I think. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me as I go through this process of what transport options we're going to go with, electric car, electric bike, or other things. Let's end this video with 20 seconds of some soothing ocean sounds from the middle of one of the walks I was doing recently that you've been watching in the footage here. Okay, well anyway, thanks for watching and bye for now.